In May of 2015, over a year and a half ago, popular hip-hop hubs like Kanye and the Hip Hop Head subreddit were sent into a frenzy as over 100 plus songs of Young Thug's and Rich Homie Quan's leaked onto the internet. It started out with a few tracks that turned into 50, then that eventuated into the 100 plus that we have available right now. These songs vary greatly in terms of actual quality and recording quality. From what sounds like recordings done by a phone to finished products that sound almost indistinguishable from their eventual release. How did this happen though? Nothing has been confirmed by Young Thug or his label, but based off information floating around the internet, mainly from Kanye, it seems as though Thug's security of his own music was very loose and led to many people having direct access. Various unconfirmed rumors have been spread. It's been alleged that it was Thug's cousin. It's been alleged that these people were trying to trade these leaked Thug tracks for tracks of other artists. And it's even been alleged that it was done by an engineer of Thug's. Ultimately, however, we don't know. What we do know is how much it changed the trajectory of Thug's releases. Slime Season 1 and Slime Season 2 were essentially released to get the leaks out and make sure they don't fade away in vain. Both these tapes featured a mix of original material and leaked tracks. What's most important about this is that not all of the essentially finished leaked tracks ended up on these tapes. Most of the standouts were Like You Dig What I'm Saying, No Way, and Power, but there remains a few called classics that among hardcore Thug stans are widely revered as some of Thug's best work. Common sentiments that I've seen online and with my friends is that people either aren't aware that not all of the leaks got officially released, or secondly, it would be annoying to seep through the average and unfinished to reach the amazing. That's the reason for this video, to highlight some of Thug's best unreleased material to both old and new fans alike, some of which may not even be aware of the leaks. In the description of this video, find a playlist for an easy listen of all the tracks I've listed today. Remember, this is just my opinion, but enough talk, let's begin. You dig? The first song we're going to talk about is Spaghetti Factory. This is one of the fringe tracks for me. I absolutely love the production of this by Metro. When the production fully kicks in, it reminds me very strongly of Skyfall, especially the drums and bass. The intro and the first verse are the highlights of this track. The way that Thug says, "Metro, this my motherfucking bro," is enchanting. And about halfway through the first verse, Thug switches his delivery and tone to one that is aggressive, angered, and unlike the softness normally apparent in Thug's voice. But goddamn does Thug pull this off, it is a welcome change. As for the hook and the second verse, they don't compare to the beginning of the track in my opinion, and they stop this track short from being as amazing as it could have been. However, for some this is a standout go-to league track, so I can appreciate it. It is definitely worth a listen. Pull up on them in a Hummer with it, baby mama. On the bank count like a major brother. Hey, the second track we're going to talk about is Woke Up. This features both Thug and Quan. This is a Rich Gang era leftover, but it is more in your face and hard hitting than most of their previous work. Mainly thanks to a hard hitting Metro Boomin instrumental. Fueled with fast flows and braggadocio, this track is a pleasure to listen to and reminisce on what the two once had. Moving on, we have another Rich Gang era leftover, but it sounds nothing like Woke Up. This seems to be made at the peak of Thug and Quan's relationship, with the two trading bars about how much they mutually love each other. As usual, the chemistry between the two really makes this track what it is. You can't help but crack a smile as Thug gleefully raps, "Quan, I love you like my lover," before feeling slightly depressed as Quan raps, "Thug, we gon' be at it forever," realizing these two may never work again. This track is an uplifting one, with the brightly produced Done Deal beat a fitting backdrop as Thug and Quan share flows, hooks, and women apparently. Next we have a song that goes by two names, either Schedule or Thick Bitch. This track is actually half finished, featuring dead air within the instrumental where a second verse would slot right in, but that doesn't stop this track from being one of my favourites from the leaks. The production is typical Thug, a piano lead with a subtle 808 and trap drums. Despite this track only featuring a hook and a verse, it is Thug's snappy flow sprinkled with some witty lines like, "I got a horse looking bitch that like to wrestle," and "I think she did pray to God cause I'm a blessing," that make this track a pleasure to listen to. Next we have a song called I Mean, and this song will unfortunately never be officially released, as it utilizes the same beat off Live from the Gutter from Drake and Future's What a Time to Be Alive mixtape. This song showcases just how basic and uninspired Drake and Future's effort was on their song. When you realize the highlight of Drake's verse, where the beat slows down and he ends the lines with "yeah yeah," was Jack in the same expression but with a slightly altered flow from the start of Thug's second verse, their addition really becomes less impressive. Thug, in typical fashion, explores a piano-backed Metro Boomin instrumental with a myriad of flows and expressions. This track isn't that impressive lyrically, but Thug more than makes up for it with how he glides over the instrumentation. Heading towards the end of the list, we have a track called Myself, and the production here is what really makes this track. An acoustic guitar sample is not the first thing that you would expect to work well over typical trap production. But Weezy makes it sound great. Add a vocal sample in the background and you have a quirky take on the usual trap recipe. Thug takes it upon himself to exploit the weirdness of this production with a fun, bouncy delivery. The highlight of this track is the start of the second verse, where the beat cuts off and Thug softly whispers a few lines with no instrumental, saying,
"Pussy wet in you, so now I can't."
And,
"Hey, that pussy wet like it got baptized."
Before exploding into a perky delivery when the beat kicks back in. A true highlight from the leaks.
"Hey, that pussy wet like it got baptized. More control that pussy, come here. Make that pussy settle like we fought with a belt."
And last, but definitely not least, we have Machiavelli. This is not only my favourite Thug song from the leak, but my favourite Thug song of all time. This is Thug at his peak. This is quintessential Thug. If I was dealing with a Young Thug hater, or someone who had never heard a Young Thug song in their life, I'd hit them with this song. The first thing you will hear is the beautifully produced track. It sits and hangs below the vocals and doesn't overwhelm the ears, mostly consistent of kicks and snares that create a familiar rhythm. On top of this, the mix of the vocal sample and piano melody that come and go throughout the track help to add texture to this production. In this sense, the beat is kinda similar to Constantly Hating off of Barter 6. It is prominent enough to create an inducing vibe and a bouncy rhythm, but leaves Thug enough room to explore, take control, and showcase his talents within the track. Thug starts off this track with a relentlessly fast flow all over the hooks and verses. Here we have Thug spitting like he rarely does, coming across genuine, clever, and heartfelt. This is beautifully put, described, and delivered by Thug. And the imagery provoked through these lines is some of the strongest we've seen from Thug. As the track progresses, Thug's delivery changes wildly. Thug even acknowledges this in his own lyrics, singing "I done went from rapping to reggae" directly after "I'm so gone off a perk" in signature Thug form. After this quick little diversion, we are back into a relentless fast flow from Thug as we finish the third verse and transition into the fourth. This last verse again features line-to-line flow changes, where we go from thugger hitting high notes, before it snaps right back with an aggressive delivery, before ultimately putting the brakes on, finishing with a beautifully sung
"I'm a beast, bitch, you cannot tame."
It is rare that a Thug song feels so well thought out, put together, and developed as Machiavelli is. That's what makes this song so special. I still have hope this song will be featured on Thug's first album, whenever the fuck we get it, because this track, above all the others that leaked, deserves it. That's the end of this video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and thanks for watching. Feel free to follow me on all social medias.